Happening now, a new White House administration coming with some controversial policy changes. President Donald Trump making the sweeping changes with dozens of executive orders. Among them, ending birthright citizenship, stopping federal diversity and equity programs, and new ICE guidelines.
A man is standing on Broad Street in Philadelphia, holding a Polish AK-47 in broad daylight. His name is Chairman Paul Birdsong. He is the leader of the new generation Black Panther Party for self-defense.
This is the Black Panther Party for self-defense, right? That for self-defense part is the pinnacle thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to attack us first. You throw one shot at me, I'm throwing 30 at you.
He looks directly into the camera and delivers a message to every ICE agent in America. Come into this city and take someone, and you will not leave the same way you came in. That is not a protest slogan. That is a promise backed by loaded rifles and a city that is already waiting for them to try.
Look around. Look what he's doing to our peoples. No matter what your skin color, you're our peoples. And we're going to stand right beside our peoples. Every means necessary.
The shots heard across every neighborhood. It starts with a windshield and a bullet. Minneapolis, broad daylight. Renee Nicole Good is sitting in her car when ICE agent Jonathan Ross fires through the glass. She dies right there, in the front seat, in the middle of the day, in the middle of America. An unarmed woman killed by a federal agent who was supposed to be enforcing immigration law. Less than 3 weeks later, it happens again. Alex Pretty, same scenario, same outcome. Another person gunned down by a federal agent. Another family destroyed in a single afternoon. The footage circulates instantly, not through news anchors with sanitized descriptions, but through phone screens held by shaking hands, through group chats that light up at 3 in the morning, through Telegram threads and Instagram stories that refuse to disappear. The raw, unfiltered reality of what is happening in American neighborhoods becomes impossible to look away from.
Breaking news tonight. 37-year-old Alex Pretty, a resident in Minneapolis, a U.S. citizen, also a registered nurse, shot and killed by a Border Patrol agent near 26th and Nicollet this morning.
Masked ICE teams swarming apartment doors at 5 in the morning. Guns drawn in hallways where children's drawings are taped to the walls. Families pulled from vehicles and lined up on curbs while their kids scream behind them, not understanding why strangers with guns are taking their parents away. No law enforcement professional wears a mask. None. That is what Philadelphia's own sheriff said. The people coming into these communities wearing masks and carrying weapons are not acting like law enforcement. They are acting like something else entirely. Cities begin to flip almost overnight. In Minneapolis, protests spill from candlelight vigils into full street blockades. ICE agents find themselves surrounded, filmed from every angle, chased out of neighborhoods by crowds that have decided enough is enough. But here's the catch. The thing that traveled faster than any protest, faster than any news cycle, faster than any executive order could keep up with, was a question. It spread through every black neighborhood, every immigrant community, every working class block in the country. And the question was simple. If they can do this there, what happens when they come here? In every city, that question produced fear. In every city except one.
Happening right now, an anti-ICE march making its way through Center City. From Chopper 3, you can see hundreds of protesters carrying signs, marching together. The march began at Philadelphia's Immigration Court at 9th and Market and is set to wrap up at the ICE field office on North 8th Street.
Philly ain't Minneapolis. Let me paint you a picture of Philadelphia, because if you do not understand this city, you will not understand what happens next. It is a Sunday night. The Philadelphia Eagles have just won a football game. The people are happy. They are celebrating. And in most cities, celebrating means cheering, maybe honking a car horn, maybe buying a round at the bar. In Philadelphia, celebrating means setting trash cans on fire. It means climbing light poles. It means toppling anything that is not bolted to the ground, and even some things that are. When this city is happy, it looks like a riot. Fans flood the streets by the thousands, hanging off structures, flipping anything that moves, turning the entire downtown into something that looks like the opening scene of an apocalypse movie. Now ask yourself, if these people do all of that when their team wins and they are in a good mood, what exactly do you think happens when they are angry? When rumors started circulating that ICE buses had been spotted near Philadelphia, the entire city woke up. And the response did not come from the underground. It came from the top. Sheriff Rochelle Bilal stepped up to a microphone and called ICE fake, made-up law enforcement. Then she made a promise on camera. If an ICE agent shoots someone in Philadelphia, that agent is getting arrested in Philadelphia. No whisking them away. No hiding their identity. No transferring jurisdiction. You do it here, you answer for it here. The District Attorney, Larry Krasner, took it further. He stared directly into the lens and addressed not just ICE, but the National Guard and the United States military. He told them calmly and clearly that if they come to Philadelphia and commit crimes against its citizens, they will be charged with state crimes. They will be arrested. They will stand trial. They will be convicted. And then he delivered the line that landed like a sledgehammer. Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me? ICE agents. Do you hear me, National Guard? Do you hear me, military? For the first time, a major American city was not just protesting federal overreach. It was promising to prosecute it. But the politicians were not the only ones making promises. Because on those same streets, in those same neighborhoods, a force was assembling that ICE had never encountered before. And if you want to understand what that force actually looks like on the ground, and why what is unfolding in Philadelphia right now could change everything, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Because the stories coming out of this city are only getting more intense, and you do not want to miss what comes next. The grandson of a Panther chairman, Paul Birdsong, did not come from a textbook. He came from the blood. He is the grandson of an original Black Panther, trained by surviving members of the movement that once made J. Edgar Hoover call the Black Panther Party the single greatest threat to internal security in the United States. That original party was destroyed by COINTELPRO, by assassinations, by infiltration and imprisonment. But the DNA survived. It passed through families. It embedded itself in neighborhoods. And in Paul Birdsong, it found a vessel that the old guard could never have predicted. Because before the revolution caught up with him, Birdsong was in the streets a different way. He was a blood, deep in gang life, running with the kind of crew that teaches you one thing above everything else: what it feels like to stare down the barrel of a gun and not blink. But here is the catch. He ran from his legacy for years, but the revolution was never going to let him go. It caught up with him the way gravity catches up with everything. And when it did, he did not just inherit the Black Panther name. He rebuilt the entire structure from the ground up, on Philly streets, in real time. And that gang experience, the thing most people would want to bury, became his greatest tactical advantage. Because once you have stared down the barrel of a gun once, you lose all fear of it. And a man with no fear of guns, standing in front of federal agents who rely entirely on the fear their guns create, is a problem that no training manual covers. The bones of the organization are the same. The 10-point program still hangs on the wall of their headquarters. The core belief still holds. If you are black, if you are working class, if you are undocumented, the state is something you survive, not something that saves you. But the version standing on Broad Street now is not a replica. It is an evolution. And Chairman Birdsong wants the world to know the difference. We're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, carry bigger guns, and we don't take anything from anyone. What changed is not just the attitude, it is the infrastructure. Recruitment no longer happens through pamphlets handed out at campus meetings. It happens in Instagram lives, TikTok clips, and viral videos. A single clip of Panthers patrolling Broad Street with rifles on their shoulders pulls more recruits in a day than a year of meetings ever could. DMS become intake forms. Telegram chats handle logistics. A post-George Floyd generation, young people who grew up watching protests, get tear-gassed and live-streamed, start showing up in person, ready to commit. These are not people who read about injustice in a history book and felt uncomfortable. These are people who watched it unfold on their phones in real time and decided they were done watching. And when you ask them if this is a full-time commitment, every single one of them gives you the same answer. This is not a job. This is a lifestyle. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A commitment that does not clock out, does not take weekends off, does not negotiate terms. They are all in, completely and irreversibly, because they believe the alternative is not just unacceptable, it is fatal. But what makes this generation truly different from every armed group that has ever made headlines in this country is what sits right next to the rifles. The card tables and the community, right next to the AK-47s and the AR-12 shotguns, there are folding card tables, and on those tables are groceries, clothes, hot soup, right outside the Church of the Advocate, in the heart of the neighborhoods they patrol. This is the part that ICE does not understand. This is the part that most people watching from the outside will never fully grasp. ICE drops into a neighborhood wearing masks. They hit a door. They grab whoever they came for, and they disappear. They are ghosts with badges, surgically removing people from communities and leaving behind nothing but fear and broken families. The Panthers live there. They patrol the same corners every single night. They know the names of the kids on the block. They know which families are afraid to walk to the store. And they know exactly what that fear looks like up close. There is a woman named Mariah Elena in North Philadelphia. She is 63 years old. She has not left her apartment in 4 weeks. Not because she is sick, not because she cannot walk, because her neighbor's son was taken by ICE at 6 in the morning, 3 blocks from her front door, and she watched it happen from her window. Now she sleeps with every light in her apartment on and a chair pushed against the door. Her granddaughter, who is 9, has not been to school in 2 weeks because Maria Elena will not let her walk outside alone, and there is nobody left to take her. That is what the raids leave behind. Not just the people they take, the people they break without ever touching. And that is why, when the people of Philadelphia talk about the Panthers, they do not talk about them the way the news does. They talk about them like neighbors, like family. Thank y'all for being out here, doing everything y'all doing for us. 'Cause these cops ain't doing nothing for us. One woman approached them on camera and told them her little cousin was almost taken 2 nights ago on the Broad Street subway line. Birdsong did not hesitate. We'll be on the Broad Street line from now on. That is the difference. ICE operates like an occupying force. The Panthers operate like a community immune system. And when both of those things exist in the same city, the physics of the confrontation change completely. Because the Panthers are not just patrolling with weapons, they are patrolling with knowledge. Chairman Birdsong can quote Philadelphia Crime Code 6108 from memory. He knows exactly how he is legally allowed to carry his rifle, exactly where his fingers need to be, and exactly what the law says an officer can and cannot demand of him. And the cameras have caught what happens when police test him. The moment the cops back down, the first squad car creeps toward the subway station entrance. The officer inside sees the rifles. He sees the berets. He sees a line of armed men and women standing like a wall between the train station and whatever is behind them. Chairman Birdsong does not flinch. Before the officer even finishes his approach, Birdsong is already speaking. I can hold my gun like this. That is the law. Philadelphia Crime Code 6108 says I can hold my long arms in my hand. My finger is not on the trigger, so do not ask me to do anything that is against the law. The camera catches the hesitation. The officer pauses. He clocks the rifles, he clocks the cameras, he clocks the crowd. And then he does something that rewrites the power dynamic of that entire block. He backs off. He turns the car around. He leaves. Just like the sheriff warned, he did not in fact want any of the smoke. And this was not a one-time fluke. The Panthers have documented multiple encounters where police arrived, assessed the situation, and made a calculated decision to leave. Their own members describe it with a bluntness that borders on disbelief. The police are terrified of us. Literally, we make them leave. We make them move. As soon as we approach, they take off running. But here is the catch. Every single one of those encounters was filmed. Every patrol video, every clip of Birdsong checking officers on the sidewalk was uploaded, shared, and watched by thousands before the squad car was even back at the station. What looks like a street-level power display is actually a recruitment broadcast. Every video is a message to every young person in every neighborhood in the country who has ever felt powerless against a badge and a gun. And the message is, there is another way. Come find us. And then Birdsong says the part out loud that nobody else is willing to. The part that turns this from a local standoff into something that reverberates across the entire country. No ICE agent will ever run up on me. I guarantee it. I will put a hole in their chest the size of a window. To some people watching from behind their screens, that sounds like tough talk. But inside the movement, inside the neighborhoods that have watched these patrols happen night after night, that statement lands as a matter of fact. Because this is not a man making threats from a distance. This is a man who stands in the same corners every night, holding the weapon he is describing. He goes further. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. That means shotgun shells shoot out rapidly. If you're going to legally arm yourself with something bigger than what they got. Those who serve the public should be fearful of the public. The message from this generation of Panthers could not be clearer. War is not a metaphor. It is preparation. The line in the street. So now you have the full picture. On one side, ICE, masked, emboldened, armed with federal authority, operating under an administration that has made immigration enforcement its centerpiece. They have already killed 2 people. They have shown no signs of stopping. On the other side, an entire city, where the sheriff has promised to arrest federal agents, where the DA has promised to prosecute them under state law that no presidential pardon can touch, where an armed, organized, community-rooted force patrols immigrant neighborhoods every single night, with rifles in one hand and bags of groceries in the other. Both sides have made their promises public. Both sides have drawn their lines. And now Chairman Birdsong stands in front of his people and delivers the only instruction that matters. Everybody needs to unify and come together. Everybody needs to arm themselves, because a revolution is in the barrel of a gun. Whether you believe it or not, you want to be comfortable, you want to be nice, you don't want no confrontation. Legally arm yourselves and unify, or else you will die. And I mean that in a literal sense. All power to the people. The same words the original Panthers said 60 years ago. But in 2026, standing on a corner in Philadelphia with an AK-47 and a table full of hot soup, those words do not sound like history. They sound like a countdown. So here is the question, and I want you to answer it in the comments right now. When ICE finally turns a corner in our Philadelphia and finds a line of Panthers waiting for them, what happens next? Because nobody in Washington has the answer to that. Not yet. If this story hits you the way it hit us, smash that like button right now and subscribe to this channel. We are covering what is actually happening on these streets, not what the headlines want you to think is happening. Hit subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. Because whatever comes next in Philadelphia is going to change everything. And you heard it here first. See you in the next one.